Chris Lee, did you hear me?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear my name called. Tim, now that you've had some time to reflect on what happened, and we're not talking to you at 2 a.m, what were your impressions about what you saw this weekend? How do you feel about your team heading into the Super?
Well, I think we saw some growth, Chris. I mean, a lot of those kids that are on that field haven't been there before. So to play in that environment for the first time, to play with deficits, to counterpunch, to respond, I think that was it was pleasing to them. I'm sure in a lot of ways it was empowering. I think you need to go through those experiences in order to grow as a team. Does it guarantee anything moving forward? It does not. But at the same time, I think it builds fibers that you need in order to become at least relevant in the situations that we're about to play in. If you don't, then I think it's difficult to survive the tough games, because these games moving forward, there's very little difference between the teams, regardless of what the narrative is of Vanderbilt, what the narrative is of East Carolina, Tennessee, what have you. All teams are very dangerous right now, and it's not the best team that wins. It's the team that plays the best. So you have to go through some moments that can enable you to move forward in a championship environment.
Adam Sparks.
Tim, I wanted to back you up to the Duke Super Regional a couple years ago. I remember Kumar was he's pretty simple that night. Fastball, slider mostly. He's developed a changeup a whole lot more now. I think he's got a cutter now. Is he better as a simple pitcher, or is he better now because he's more polished, has more pitches?
That's a good question. I think to that start, Adam, when I look at that start, there was so much innocence to it, because it was a kid that was pitching that I don't think he even recognized how much was on the line. I don't think he even recognized what was surrounding that game. I felt like he was just an innocent kid that was out there competing to the best of his ability, to your point, with basically two pitches. And once he found that the hitters were going to move to certain pitches, then he just kept repeating them. I think what happens now, as you become more of a commodity, you become more scouted. You become very focused on. I mean, there's a lot of coaches and a lot of hitters that probably spend hours and hours of time on Synergy watching Kumar, and just trying to break him down, and trying to look for tells, and trying to look for moments, and trying to look at his breaking ball. And I think you just become more of a known commodity, where it's not that you have to reinvent yourself, but you continually have to look for ways to get better. Your skill set get better. Your movement of your pitches are better. You just have to become more of a professional. And I think that's what he's doing. He's learned a lot in time, and certainly learned a lot about how to slow the ball down, because that's something that you have to do as a pitcher, because as you move up into levels, velocity just doesn't do it anymore, unless it's commanded really well, and unless it has some type of spin rate to it or angle to it that makes it very difficult for the hitters to barrel.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Teresa Walker.
Tim, good afternoon. And you mentioned a little earlier about how this team needing to go through that game on Sunday night into Monday morning. How different, people look at Vanderbilt and they see defending champ, they see all the, times you've been to super regionals. You've talked about this before. This team, how different is this team from the team that walked off with the trophy in Omaha 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's completely different, Teresa. It's just a different chapter. It's just a different group of guys. And I say that even with Kumar too, because Kumar's 24 months removed from that moment. So he's different. but I would say that they just haven't been filled with the experiences that 19 group did. The 19 group, not only did they go through a human experience in losing one of their teammates, but they also made decisions to, come back to school. And when you get kids that are pretty good players, like Ethan Paul and Steven Scott, and if I keep talking, I'll leave someone out, but they made the decision to come back to school. And what you were doing is you were collecting a bunch of players that had played in the college environment, regionals, super regionals, for a long period of time. And what ends up happening is there's a lot of freedom that moves to a player who's been able to do that. So I think that was the major difference of that group. And I know that, this team, it has to wear the badge of being a Vanderbilt team, obviously, and it's applied to winning in 19, but they're not, it's not the same group of kids. It's just a completely different group of guys who wear the same colors.
Robbie.
Hey, Tim, one of these first two games, we're going to get, a really outstanding pitching matchup. As you study Gavin Williams, what maybe stands out to you about him as a player?
6'6", 235 pounds, looks like Paul Bunyan, and throws the ball 97 miles an hour and doesn't back off. I mean, he holds his velocity. We haven't seen a lot of pitchers that hold their velocity that long. And this is a kid that he's a freak. I mean, he's very, very good at what he does. He doesn't give up extra base hits. He throws a lot of strikes. He can command several pitches beyond a fastball, and he competes. And he's got a coach that competes. I mean, Cliff coached here in 2005. Cliff is a very close friend of mine. He's Eric Bakich and Cliff Godwin were on that East Carolina team way back that Keith LeClaire, who was my best friend, who died of ALS, coached. And so we're all connected in between. And the reason I go from Williams to Cliff Godwin is because Cliff, being the coach there, I mean, you play for Cliff Godwin and you play in East Carolina's program, you're going to be a tough kid. You're going to have fibers that are going to allow you to compete at a high level. And Williams is that kid. I mean, he's got very good skills, very good tools, and he competes on a high level.
Do you know if Tate Colwick is going to be good to go for this weekend?
I don't know that yet, Rob. He was hitting in the cage yesterday, and hopefully as the days go by, where are we right now? Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. So I don't know. I'm hoping he's taking swings and he's on the field. I just don't know at what percent he'll be, whether he'll be totally healthy or not.
Chad Bishop.
Hey, Tim, what has allowed Enrique to become the base stealer that he is, besides his great speed, obviously?
Confidence, pure and simple. I mean, this is a kid who was not running the bases in the fall. He was not bunting in the fall. And it was probably a lot of conversations about, take the parking brake off. You can do this. I remember having one conversation with him in October and saying, when you get to first base, first pitch, just go. I don't care what happens, just go. And then when you get to second, go on the first pitch after that. And he stole, I think, 5 bases that afternoon. And, since that time, I think it's empowered him. And I do see that. I do feel it's a kid that has grown with confidence to a point right now where he's very attacking in nature. He attacks the game and he has fun with it. And you can see his teammates look up to him that way because he speaks with confidence now. But that's just a kid who has grown throughout the year. He didn't have that right away, but he certainly has along the way.
David White.
Hey, Corbs. Along with Williams, they have Carson Wisenhunt, who's a really good pitcher. Talk about him, and who do you think will start against y'all Friday morning, Friday at 11?
Well, Williams is going to start Friday. Wisenhunt will start Saturday. So they've named those two guys. Wisenhunt, yeah, very talented arm. Left-handed, tall, lanky, high spin rate on his fastball, changeup, pretty good. But I can't really think about Whisenhunt too much. I'm familiar with him and seen film, but right now our concentration is on Williams in the first game.
Coach, what about their hitting? I mean, they can really hit the ball too. How do you pitch and defend against that?
Well, I just think it's probably more than hitting with them, David. It's more of an offensive package. They do a lot of different things. If they get on base, they push a lot of buttons. So they're very active in terms of running. They have a pretty deep playbook in terms of what they do. So you just have to prepare for that. I think the simplest way is, trying to get the leadoff out as quickly as you can. I mean, that's a big deal. If you don't, then Cliff and his team, they like to force pressure on you. They're probably as unique a team as we faced all year. I can't, when I was talking about them to the kids, I really couldn't compare them to anyone because there's no one that compares to them in terms of the balance of the hitters, the power, the speed. They just play a brand of baseball that's completely different. And when you talk to other coaches about East Carolina, they speak at a level that not many coaches speak about other teams. You speak about, you can just converse with other coaches and ask about a team and they'll say, yeah, pretty good here, pretty good there, but here's where they've got some holes. I haven't heard one coach speak about East Carolina in that regard. I have not heard about any holes in this group whatsoever. There's none. And it just makes it very difficult. 1 through 9, you have to really concentrate on a pitch plan in order to execute, in order to keep them off base. And then when they're on base, it's like you're opening a door for them.
Thank you.
Tom Wood.
Yeah, hi, Coach. I'm curious what it's been like having fans back in the stands, the crowd support and energy during these last few weeks of the season, especially that 11-inning regional game. And how important is it to have that genuine home atmosphere this weekend as opposed to the start of the season when it was just family, friends, and a few others?
It feels like you got your life back, Tom. I'm not trying to be too dramatic about it, but I just remember exactly where I was at this point last year, sitting here thinking about just an open field. I'm the only one in the damn office. And I'm thinking, will we ever get back to a regular life again? It was incredible. And now that, we're playing baseball, number one, that was huge. Number two, we were playing baseball for a time with parents and some other people in the stands. And now it's like full on. And, I think everyone will be appreciative of the NCAA making that decision to go to 100%. I mean, it's great for the kids. It's just great for the kids. It's just great for fans too, is to be able to come out and watch people get emotional about it. That was a great week of college baseball last weekend to watch on TV, not just Vanderbilt, but just everywhere throughout the country. And it reminded you again what you have, how delicate things are in life, and how appreciative you are of these opportunities that we have right now. It's great. It's great to be in Nashville. It's great to be playing here. And I'm very happy that these kids have this opportunity.
And how about for that 11-inning game last weekend? What was the atmosphere like there? Were they all there at the end?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't think a lot of them left. I mean, there's a lot of people on the call here that would tell you that. I thought they were very patient because that was it wasn't an easy game to sit through because of the highs and lows in it. And it drove, I'm sitting there watching it and I'm thinking, this is a tough one to absorb. It was a tough one for the kids to play. I think it took a lot out of them. It certainly took a lot out of Georgia Tech too. I admire how they were on the field since 9:30 in the morning, and we're well past 1 a.m. and they're still playing and still fighting to come back. So yeah, I just thought it was it wasn't cosmetic, it wasn't pretty, but you could tell the kids were leaving it on the field. It was such a spirited game played by two really good teams.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie Woodward.
Hey, Coach, it seems like ECU this week has kind of adopted that underdog, kind of publicly talking about that role. What about the other side for you of maybe handling the pressure of being a favorite and having those top two pitchers this weekend?
I don't buy into any of that crap. That's just someone's narrative. There's no such thing as an underdog, not in sport. I mean, that's Davy and Goliath, and that wasn't even an underdog. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's two really good teams. I'm not buying into that at all. Vanderbilt's the underdog. How's that? You know, it doesn't matter. It's just who plays better baseball against the other. That's it. And the team that plays better baseball will be the one that moves forward and plays. But it doesn't have anything to do with the underdog, super dog, whatever, hot dog. No dog.
What about that your team, your program has been to Omaha a few times, obviously, and won some national championships, and ECU is trying to kind of bust down that door. I mean, there's some pressure on them usually inherently once they get to this round regardless.
And what are you asking?
That experience that you've had, your players have had of getting to Omaha, does that help when you're facing an ECU team that's been to so many regionals but never gotten past this round?
I don't think it matters for either team, to be honest with you. I mean, East Carolina has a few players that played in that Super Regional a couple years ago, and we have a couple players that never played in the Super Regional. We have a player that pitched in it. So I just think that they're two unique teams. They're different. Both schools have had experiences there, but not a lot of these kids have been in the middle of those experiences. So I don't think it matters really too much. I mean, both teams are equipped to win. But I think past history is past history. It won't have anything to do with what happens this weekend.
Chris Lee.
Yeah, Tim, I wanted you to talk about Christian Little for a little bit, whether he's available this weekend. And had you gone to an extra game, was he going to be your starting pitcher? Were you holding him back maybe for that reason since we didn't see him last weekend?
Yes, we were. I mean, we had to. You asked me the question the other night, which was a good one in terms of organizing your pitching. It's a very difficult thing to do inside of that the third game, Chris, just for our purposes, just trying to understand you want to win that game, but at the same time, you have to leave someone behind just in case. And, you know, we did. I mean, Christian was going to pitch that game. He's going to be available this weekend. Obviously, well, I say obviously, it's not obvious, but we'll use him as needed in terms of out of the bullpen or, you know, potentially a start. You just don't know.
Any more questions for Coach? David White.
Hey, Corbs, Jason Gonzalez kind of stepped it up pretty well last Sunday. Do you see a similarity with the way Jason is playing right now to Julian Infante a couple years ago? Do you see that kind of parallel at all?
Yeah, I mean, I see some of that, David. Yeah, I do. You know, it's a kid that 4-year player, kind of hitting in that same range and coming up with some big hits. Yeah, I do. There's some similarities that way. Two unique kids are very similar in personalities too. They're both very giving kids. But yeah. I mean, I think confidence grew at the end of the year for Julian, and I start to see some of that with Jason as well.
Robbie, bring us home with one more.
Tim, I noticed Carter took a couple, I think, of right-handed at-bats over the weekend. I guess, you know, does that suggest that he's getting a little bit better, improving in terms of the shoulder? And how do you think he looked both at the plate and in the field?
I thought he looked good in the field, Robbie. I think at the plate, his swing was just too big. I mean, he's trying to do too much. It's a kid that hasn't played in a while and just trying to get his rhythm back, but he was trying to help the team, and sometimes you overswing, and I thought he did, and I know he thought he did too. But I really liked his last at bat. You know, that right-handed at bat going the other way. But to answer the first part of your question, is he is feeling better. We wouldn't have let him gone to the plate hitting right-handed, but he took a couple of days before he was in the cage hitting right-handed. It felt better. I think the biggest thing with him was the finish. If he could get through the finish and feel like he wasn't irritating his shoulder, then he was going to do it. He took BP on the field on Sunday before the game, right-handed, and I said, can you do it? And he goes, I can do it. I said, are you sure you can do it mentally? He goes, I can do it, and I won't be thinking about it. So he did, and I think it was good for him. So I think right now it's full go for both sides.
Coach, thanks for your time today. Good luck this weekend.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Corbs.
Thanks, Tim.
In just a few moments, we'll be joined by Vanderbilt junior Dominic Keegan. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, all good. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for taking some time to chat with us. Joining us now, Vanderbilt junior Dominic Keegan. If you have a question for Dominic, please utilize the raise your hand feature. Teresa Walker, we'll start with you.
Dominic, one thing that Coach Corbin, honestly, all coaches talk about how each year is a new year. But for this program, people on the outside see the national titles, the run of success in the postseason, and they think, oh, this is, Vandy again. How different is this team from the team that had the title and walked off with the trophy in Omaha 2 years ago?
I mean, if you just look at the roster, it's a completely different roster. There's only I think 8 of us maybe that were on that 2019 team. So obviously, we're very young. We didn't have much experience coming into this year. And I think just the makeup of our team is completely different. We got a lot of speed guys. We got a lot of younger kids in the lineup that, haven't been through this before, and older guys. I mean, I'm a junior, and, I didn't really get to play and experience this my freshman year. So, yeah, I think we're just a lot younger and a lot more inexperienced, but we're going through every experience together. So it's been special for us.
Is there anything you can pick up from being at Vanderbilt and part of that program that does kind of trickle through whatsoever?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like I said, when I was on that team my freshman year, I didn't play, but I was learning from those older guys every single day, and I think that's kind of just how the ways of being an athlete in this program, gets passed down. I mean, I learned from them, and it's my job now to pass on what I've learned to the younger guys in the program now. So,
Kayla Anderson.
Hey, Dom, looking back at that game specifically on Sunday night into the early morning, what can you guys kind of take from that and the way that you've battled that can take you into this series, going up against an East Carolina team that obviously has a lot of experience getting to the postseason, and as Tim Corbin said, is a really tough team?
Yeah, I mean, we were resilient. I mean, it just shows us and proves to us that, we're never out of the game, as long as we got outs left, as long as we have innings to play, pitches to pitch, I mean, we're still in the game. We're never really out of it. And I think all of us truly believe that, when we were in that game on Sunday night, I don't think anybody had a doubt in their mind that we were going to lose that game. I mean, that's just like I said, the makeup of this team, it's special.
Yeah, hi, Dom. So I'm curious from a player's standpoint, what this season has been like, just starting with the return of fans, the lack of crowd support, not that the support wasn't there, but the lack of fans in the very starting weeks of the season. What was the emotional, the energy impact of having fans back in the stands for these last few weeks, particularly in the regional, and what impact will it have for you carrying forward?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We haven't really had a lot of fans here throughout the year. It's kind of just been family and friends. But these past couple weekends, with full capacity, having all the fans here, it's been awesome. It really gives us a little extra boost, and it makes the game more entertaining. Having that, being in that environment, it just makes it more fun for everybody involved. So it's been really special, and we really appreciate it.
Chad Bishop.
Hey, Dominic, could you kind of speak to Jason Gonzalez and his maturation and leadership for this team and what it's meant to you guys throughout the year?
I mean, it's been huge. I mean, he's been inserted in the lineup and taken out at various points throughout the year. And I think that moment for him last night, I mean, we're all just so happy for him. He really earned that, and he deserved that. So yeah, I mean, just him, staying the course and just being the leader that he is. I mean, he's helped us tremendously. And yeah, I mean, that moment was so special, and he deserved it. I was so happy for him.
Chris Lee.
Dom, when you came back from injury, you were seeing just off speed and breaking stuff constantly. And for a while, you struggled with it a little bit. I'm watching you now. You seem like you're hammering just about everything, and even the ones you don't, you're right on. What has been different about your approach and the things that you've done to handle breaking pitches that's gotten you in the groove that you're in right now?
I think just working with Coach Baxter here. Little things like trying to keep my chest over the plate. But I mean, for the biggest thing for me is, just trying not to do too much, just staying aggressive and staying in the moment, being present. When I try to do something and be more than what I am, I tend to not be so successful. So, I mean, I just got to stick to who I am and, just have fun with it.
Robbie.
Hey, Dom, how much have you studied Gavin Williams from ECU, who's going to start on Friday for them? And if you have looked at him a lot, what maybe stands out about him?
I honestly, we haven't looked at him much yet. We're probably going to more today, but I've heard that he throws hard and he's got good off speed stuff. Obviously he's really good. So, we're going to have to be ready to go.
David White.
Hey, Dom, the team 2 years ago, as talented as they were more kind of a low key group. Now you guys look like you're a high energy group. Talk about that a little bit. The energy that you guys bring this year, as you just seem high energy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that 2019 team was full of older guys who, have been through it before. And it was sort of like a quiet confidence. And I think with us, we love to celebrate each other and every moment we get. So, when someone makes a good play on the field or someone puts a good swing on the ball, we're going to celebrate that. And I mean, we're not going to be quiet about it because, we just have that love for one another and that passion for the game. So, especially in those big moments, I think that that energy comes out of us. And but it's all for us. It's all we celebrate one another, and that's it. So.
Thank you.
Aria.
Vanderbilt and East Carolina are two of the only teams in the country that had two semifinalists for the Golden Spikes Award. So how does it feel knowing that, it's two teams with so much star power going?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the end of that.
I said, how does it feel playing a team knowing that this is two teams with so much star power going up against each other?
I mean, yeah, there's 16 teams left in the country. I think every team has that, that star power. I mean, every team's good at this point. So, I mean, every time you step on the field, you're getting everybody's best. And I mean, you just got to go out there and play your game and, be confident with what you've done up to this point, your preparation and things like that. So, I mean, I'm confident in my guys and, I think we're going to go out there and we're going to give it all we got. So.
Teresa Walker.
Apologies, I thought I'd lowered my hand there.
No worries. Kayla Anderson.
Yep, that's my issue too.
No worries. Any more questions for Dom? Chris Lee.
Dom, how do you explain the way the ball jumps off your bat? It doesn't always, the home runs you hit don't always off the bat look and sound like they're going out, but the ball just keeps going and going and going. But what is it about the way you strike it and spin it that gives it the effect that it's got?
I think I just stay through the ball really well. I try to keep my barrel through the zone as long as possible. So, some of those balls that I catch out front, I'm able to still stay through them. And, even if I catch it a little bit deep, I'm able to, push it the other way. So, I mean, I just think I just stay through it well. That's about it.
Any more questions for Dom? Tom, thanks for your time today. Good luck this weekend.
You guys have a good one.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
In just a moment, we'll be joined by Vanderbilt sophomore CJ Rodriguez. CJ, thanks for joining us. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, perfect.
Great. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us today. Joining us now, Vanderbilt sophomore CJ Rodriguez. If you have a question for CJ, please utilize the raise your hand feature. Teresa Walker, we'll start with you.
CJ, with this being, with last year and the pandemic wiping out the postseason, the whole season last year, how unique is this season? You playing at Vanderbilt where so much is expected, yet this is your first time playing in the Super Regional and hoping to make it past this weekend to Omaha, even though Vanderbilt is the defending champion. How different is that for you as a player who, this is your first time around?
I mean, yeah, it is my first time around, but I mean, we have some guys, or a lot of guys in the locker room who've done this before. So I think just learning from them and leaning on them for support and just kind of like having an idea of what to expect. Cause there's a lot of guys in this lineup who haven't gone through this yet. So, and I'm one of them. So we just kind of got to learn as we go and kind of lean on the older guys for help and for just kind of a guidance through the postseason.
Kayla Anderson.
Hey, CJ, how much did last weekend's, weekend of play, especially in that final game on Sunday, kind of give you guys some confidence? Like you had mentioned, there are some younger guys haven't been through this postseason experience before.
Yeah, that game was a pretty tough one for sure. I think it definitely gave us some confidence knowing that we're not out of any game, and it kind of gave the younger guys confidence that we're good enough to be here and we deserve to be here, and all the work we've put in over the past however 8-9 months is paying off, and just the fact that we're good enough to be here even though we haven't been here before.
Robbie Weinstein.
Hey CJ, since Jack came back from that week off that he had, he of course has looked very good. Since you're catching him, what have you noticed, as being the big differences now versus, maybe the 2 or 3 games before he got that break?
I think that break just kind of really reset him. I think he really needed that because he hasn't thrown this much in his life. So I think when a young kid comes in and is pitching a lot and there's a lot expected from him, his body can get worn down a little bit. And I think that 1 week just kind of reset him back to who he is and kind of regain that confidence that he had earlier in the season. So it's been good.
Is his stuff like noticeably improved since then?
I mean, yeah, his velo was definitely up this last weekend, which is pretty cool. I mean, he was almost up to 100 miles an hour. So you can tell that his body feels good and the ball's jumping out of his hand like he used to. So it's good for us for sure.
Back to hers.
CJ, from your point of view, what have the last 2 months been like for Ethan Smith?
Just been tough. He's kind of had some bad luck here and there, and I think just kind of he's slowly trying to get back to where he's been, and it's just tough because I mean, what he's had to go through hasn't been easy, and those setbacks really hurt, especially when we're going into the postseason. But I think the more we keep going, the more he keeps throwing, he should be back to normal pretty soon.
Coming out of this weekend with him finally getting back, how do you guys just as a unit balance a basically perfect inning where he's throwing his best stuff and then having to come in unplanned and having his velocity down, only facing one batter?
I mean, it was just kind of like a freak thing with Murph catching a cramp mid-inning. So I don't think you can really base his performance off that because, everything had to be rushed. But, I mean, it is what it is. But I think he'll be fine.
Thanks.
David White.
Mr. J, Vanderbilt has a couple of cannons going 1-2 this weekend, and East Carolina has a couple of cannons going 1-2. How do you feel like as a catcher you can give your guys an edge over their guys?
I think receiving wise, just trying to get as many strikes as I can for them and just kind of giving them the confidence that they need to know that they can throw any pitch, any count, and I'm going to help them out any way I can. I think we've been doing a good job of it this whole year. So I think going into this season or this series it should be fun. And I think they have confidence in me and I definitely have confidence in them. So.
Thank you.
Tom Wood.
Yeah, hi CJ. How weird, strange, different has it been between the start of the season with 0 fans in the stands compared to the last couple of weeks with sellout crowds, and the energy of having, how does that play for you guys?
It's been awesome. I mean, I know at the beginning of the year there was barely anybody in the stands, and it felt like a bad high school game or something. But you know, we try to create our own energy when we didn't have any fans. But now that these last few weeks have been sellout crowds, and we played in some pretty cool environments like Ole Miss and stuff. So, I mean, it's been awesome because we feed off the crowd energy, and we try to give them as much energy as we can so they can give it back to us, and we just kind of feed off that and keep going. So it's been a lot of fun.
Thanks.
Chris Lee.
Yes, CJ, have you ever had this kind of workload in your life? You're out there most days. That takes a toll on catchers. You've never been through the rigors of a normal college baseball season, so that part's new. But all the travel ball and stuff you played in the summer, did you have to catch as frequently as you're doing right now? And maybe it's different too because you're not catching this kind of pitchers. But I guess what I'm asking is, how does the kind of workload that you've got right now at this point in the season compared to what you've experienced before?
It's definitely the most I've ever had to catch for sure. But I mean, I enjoy it. It's fun. And like, yeah, my body it might not feel 100% every game, but once I get into the game and start competing, I completely forget about that. And that's not even a factor really. It's so fun going out there and competing every day. So I'm fine. And then during the week, just kind of taking care of my body with rehab and whatever I need to get done in the weight room. So I'm feeling pretty good though. I thought I'd be feeling worse, but I feel pretty good.
Kayla Anderson.
Yeah, I'm just curious, just with, the tradition of this Vandy Boys program, the guys that you have in the pros, the guys that have come through, how much, this week or last week or just the past couple of weeks, have you gotten any messages as a team from some of these former players? Just anything kind of wishing you guys good luck as you go into the postseason here?
Yeah, I think we got a few messages from some guys. I know some guys were at the game on Sunday night. So just kind of, I mean, it's a big family. So we kind of learn from everybody that's been through this before. And especially guys who are in pro ball now, they kind of have a chance to look back at their experience and kind of give us the best advice as they can. So it's good. It's a good resource to have. And we try to use it as much as we can.
David White.
CJ, a lot of catchers in the pros and catchers in college, there's so much volume of work that sometimes it can affect their hitting. Is that an issue sometimes that the volume of work behind the plate can affect your hitting?
I mean, yeah, that might be a factor too, but I'm not making any excuses about that. I mean, I'm just trying to go out there and work as hard as I can for my pitchers. If it takes a toll on my hitting, so be it. But as long as I'm giving them their best outing as they possibly can, that's all that matters. But I'm obviously going to still try to keep hitting as well as I can, but I'm not going to make any excuses.
Chris Lee.
Sorry, I forgot to lower my hand there. Carry on.
All good. Kayla Anderson.
We're good.
Any more questions for CJ? Great. CJ, thanks for your time today. Good luck this weekend.
Sounds good. Thank you guys. See ya.
Thank you, CJ.
Thanks, CJ.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week.